Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome back to P for P. I'm Will Brooks, hosting this afternoon, and we have a really cool guest that I'm very excited to talk to you today. Been doing some digging on him, so we have Matthew Korn here today, who is an employment law attorney, but is also the founder of Dad-esque, which is a network of lawyer dads looking for connection that has grown into a global brotherhood of over 300 members. Matthew, super glad to have you on the podcast, man. Super glad to talk about Dad-esque. I keep wanting to say ESQ, but you said it was Dad-esque.
You can call it that as long as people can find it. That's great, and I appreciate you having me, Will.
Absolutely. So, I was telling you before we came on the air, I'm a dad. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an esquire, but I am a dad, and it's a massive part of my life, and it's one of my favorite things. It is my favorite thing that I get to do, is be a dad to my kids and watch them grow and teach them, and I don't want to say mold them because I feel like they're going to be their own person, whatever I do, but have an impression and be a part of their lives. So let's talk to me a little bit about Dad-esque. Like, tell me about the genesis of the organization and what you guys are doing.
Sure, that'd be great. Me first, really briefly, is I've got 4 children. One of them we just celebrated his 11th birthday yesterday, which makes me feel really old.
That's awesome. Happy birthday. It makes you feel old. I have a 27-year-old, so don't feel old.
Man, I feel like you don't look like you could have a 27-year-old, Will. So
I have a 27-year-old and a 19-year-old, and then I have a 6-year-old from second marriage. So okay. I've started over again.
I'm sure I have more gray hair, but that's partly the job and partly the 4 kids. But now we got an 11-year-old, 8-year-old, and 5-year-old, all boys, and then we have a 3-year-old daughter, and she is adopted. So our boys are
awesome,
and our daughter's adopted, and I have a very supportive wife who lets me create online community after the kids go to bed and on the weekends. So yeah, last year I turned 40 last December. I tell people it's my midlife crisis, except I couldn't afford a Ferrari, so I decided to create a community. And I had a bunch of lawyers who were new dads coming to me and saying, "How do you do it? You're a partner at a big law firm. You seem to manage it pretty well. You've got 4 children and they're young. How do you do all that? How do you manage all that?" And my response was, I just sleep less than the average human. And that didn't feel like a healthy or a good response, or, if I'm supposed to be mentoring people, something I should be encouraging others on. So I said, let me go find some resources. And I started looking, and there is some good dad stuff out there, working dad stuff. Harder to find. It takes intention. You don't just stumble across it like you would with a working mom. There's plenty of stuff about working moms. It's great. But there wasn't as much stuff, and there was 0 things for lawyer dads in particular. And I think being a lawyer is kind of a uniquely challenging and stressful profession in certain ways. And I also wanted to create a place where guys could just jump in and immediately relate with other guys and say, yeah, I get that. You had a brief due the next day and you had a kid up all night screaming or sick or something. I've been in your exact shoes. And so that was kind of the impetus behind creating the community.
I love it. So like you said, there's a lot of mom groups out there. There's a lot of lawyer groups out there. I've seen a lot of these lawyer groups online, but this one is very different. It feels different. It's built around, you built it around connection, vulnerability, and shared experience. Like you were saying, what's the mission for Dad-esque?
Sure. So our tagline is, you don't have to do law or fatherhood alone. And I think that's a really important part of our mission. I think both being a lawyer can be an isolating profession. It's not the most team-based profession. We often sit in our office all day by ourselves, sending emails back and forth. And it's not as team-oriented as it could be. And I think also being a dad can feel that way. And I know there's a lot of guys out there. We moved to Columbia, South Carolina after I finished law school.
Okay.
For my job, and we didn't know anybody. And it's hard, if you're a guy in your late 20s, early 30s trying to make friends with other guys, it's hard to do. It's just hard. And we found groups through through church. My wife and I lead married couples groups at our church, but like that connection is what I was trying to create in Dad-esque. Is like, I've got a group of guys that I know I can call anytime, day or night, ask for them for some advice. So, the other aspect of it is I want to create a place where guys can connect, share stories and strategies with each other, say, I've been there too, and support each other through tough times. So when I created it, I was a couple guys and me in December, I launched it on Mighty Networks, which if you had asked me last November, what's Mighty Networks, I would have no idea.
I don't know what is. I don't know what it is.
It's an online, it's a social networking space. They allow you to build your own community within there. So there's a couple, there's Mighty, Circle, Kajabi, are some of the bigger ones. I could have launched on Facebook, done a Facebook group, but I kind of like Mighty. Mighty has a lot of functionality in terms of what I can do in there and driving engagement. And also it feels more private because I wanted to create a space where guys could feel comfortable sharing some of these things. Because a lot of guys, you're a law firm or somewhere else, the partners might be older, might not have the same interest as you do in being family first. And so going to them for advice might not feel as comfortable. So I wanted to create this like a safe space, really. But as like December, two other guys were on a Zoom, and I was just saying to them, I don't know if there's going to be 5 people that join this thing or hundreds or thousands, who knows? But if 10 guys are sitting around a room, a Zoom chat, talking about being better dads, it's worth every bit of time we invest in building this. So we launched on January 1 and
January 1 of this year.
This year, yeah.
And you're already at 300 members.
315-ish right now. I think it's 314 today. But yeah,
that's
315
awesome.
members in 40 plus states around the U.S. And then we're in 11 countries. And on 6, as of today, we're on 6 continents. I just got my first member in Ethiopia. And he's a lawyer dad, and he's been a lawyer for 17 years. And he's like, he has the same challenges. It's insane. And
sure.
Like, I want to figure out, how do I balance being a lawyer and a dad? And I'm like, I love this, that this is just a theme that resonates with so many different lawyer dads around the country, and around the world now. So it's been a lot of fun building it and meeting all these people. That's
awesome, man. Very cool. I wish that there was something like that. And then maybe there is for those of us who are not attorneys, like, cause I feel like that this, yes, we work with attorneys in our business. We work almost exclusively with lawyers and law firms. And I know that it is a very stressful and demanding profession that requires a lot of time, away, from your family. So I understand the need for a group like this for sure. But I wish that there was something similar for other working professional fathers. There may be, and maybe I just haven't done the research myself. Maybe I just need to do that.
That's the issue, is you got to dig for it. There is a group called Mothers Esquire for lawyer moms.
Okay.
That's been around for 12 years. And I love talking about that too, because like there needs to be a place in I think we share similar missions where the guys in my community, they want to be better dads. They want to be better partners to their spouse. They want to do more around the house. They want to be more involved. And so different challenges, but they've got 10,000 lawyer moms and Mothers Esquire. And I see Dad-esque continuing to grow. We're at 300 now, but this time next year, I imagine we'll be well over 500.
What was the key for you to get for the growth that you've had in less than a year to get to over 300 members? What do you think the key was for the growth there?
A lot of work. A lot of work. It's all new to me. I love learning new things, but like didn't know what Canva was. Didn't use AI tools as much. And so I've really dove into those things. Most of the activity for Dad-esque is on LinkedIn, and I when I started, I think LinkedIn is a huge opportunity for most lawyers because it's not a real high bar to be one of the top lawyers on LinkedIn. Most lawyers go on there to post their resume and look for jobs. They're not on there to do anything beyond that. And so I went from 1,950 connections on LinkedIn to now I've got about 7,000 connections on LinkedIn. Identifying which ones of them are dads. Some of them are helpful and put it in their headline, I'm a dad. Most of them are not. So I just connect with a bunch of guys that look like they could be dads. And I'm like, hey, I'm doing this thing. If you know any lawyer dads.
So you're doing it piecemeal, individual invites.
It has been like direct direct connections with people. And
hey, that's grassroots, baby. I love that.
It's a lot. After my kids go to bed from like 9 to midnight, I'm doing a lot of work on this.
I think it's great, man. I think it's very, very cool. And like I said, there's a need for it for sure. I know lots of guys who I hesitate to use the word workaholic, and these are not necessarily attorneys, but they're dads. And I was telling you this before we came on. I'm going camping with my 6-year-old this weekend. He's never been camping before. I love to get up in the woods and disconnect, and he wants to go. So just he and I are going tomorrow night to go camping. And I was telling a buddy of mine that I was doing. He asked me what I was doing this week, and I told him, and he was like, "Man, that sounds amazing. How do you find the time for that?" And I'm like, "Well, it's Saturday. That's the time I'm spending with my kids. It's not for me. Like to me, it's just like second nature. It's like, I'm going to my kids' soccer practice tonight. You just show up. It's always shocking to me how many of my friends who it's grind. And I understand that there's a time and a place for that. But if you're not making time for your family, are you really even living is kind of how I feel. So
we talk a lot about that kind of stuff. Like guys that are, for a lot of attorneys, their schedule is flexible, is more flexible than maybe a regular, like, hey, I've got to be at work from this hour to this hour.
Right.
For a good number of attorneys, that's the case. And guys talk about like, hey, if I need to leave at 4:30, I go to my kids' game. And then after they go to bed, I boot up my laptop and send out emails, or I get up early in the morning. And we talk about that, also when you have limited time with your kids, how intentional can you be? How present are you on your phone, or are you actually with your kids? That's been a tough thing for me. Like, I'm addicted to my phone, and
it's tough for everybody. Yeah,
my wife constantly is reminding me, like, hey, you're with your kids right now. You need to put your phone away. To a point where, like a month ago, I started 5 p.m. Saturday to 5 p.m. Sunday. I just turned my phone off and leave.
Nice.
Sounds like crazy, and I'm still like kind of just thinking about what that even even 4 or so weeks in. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm fully realizing that benefit yet. I'm still thinking about it too much. So, but anyone can do that, right? Like there's a time in the week where you can put down your phone. I lived for half my life without a phone. And
right. We all did. Yeah. Well, not all of us, but those of us in our 40s, we certainly did. And let's get to the point. I told you I have I got a 6-year-old. My other 2 kids are older and out of the house, but my 6-year-old, he will come up and like, he'll take the phone out of my hands and be like, hey, talk to me. He's gotten to that point where he recognizes like, get off of your phone and let's hang out. And it's if your kid's doing that for you, at least for me, that was a big awakening of like, oh yeah, I need to put this thing down. I'm spending way too much time in this thing.
My kids will say, look, I'm dad, and they'll be looking at their phone there. That's a wake up call, right? Like that's a wake up call to
it 100% is.
That's the other thing I want to convey is like, I created this not because I'm like this, like I've got it all figured out. I've got 11 years of learned life experience, but it doesn't mean I'm a perfect dad or even a particularly good dad on certain days. And that's every guy in the community. They're just coming in saying, I'm not perfect at this, but I want to be better at being a dad, at being a lawyer. And I find value in this community of other people that feel the same way.
And you're doing virtual meetups with the group?
Yeah. So I don't love online. I love the ability to connect with people like Guy in Ethiopia, who I certainly would never have met had it not been for us. I love that ability to have this. So we do at least two meetings a month. We do a lunch and learn the first week where we bring in speakers. I'm super pumped. My daughter's adopted. And so next month it's National Adoption Month.
Cool. I'm
like, how did it have to be November? I had to wait 10 months to get to National Adoption Month since I started. But we're going to have our adoption attorney on and talk about adoption and the laws and all the different things all the different challenges that brings. And we've done financial ones. We've done fitness ones. So we have a lunch and learn that's more substantive. And then at the third week of the month, we do kind of, it's more meet and greet networking. And the first one I did, I thought they were going to have substantive conversation, but the guys just wanted to meet each other and like tell their life story. And guys are sharing, I've got special needs kids. I've got this, I've got that. So we do those. We do special events. So we've had series. We did one on protecting your kids online. One of the guys in our community is just really focused on how do we protect our kids online. So we do little special events throughout the year.
That's cool.
one of my goals is to eventually be in person. So
I was going to ask if you have any plans for any kind of in-person event. That's great.
Yeah, and we've got to get a critical mass in a certain place. Lawyer dads are busy people. And so one of the cool things is I'm in South Carolina. We've got about 30 members in South Carolina. They're spread around the state, but that's 10% of our community. I mean, they're all over the country. And so once we get to a point where we've got 20, 30, 40, 50 members in the same city, what I'm encouraging guys in the community to do is set up a dad-esque happy hour, a dad-esque lunch, a dad-esque meet and greet, whatever.
Chapters.
So that you guys can meet in person, because I do think there's a value in in-person interaction too.
Very cool, man. Good for you for starting this and kind of recognizing the need for it. I love the idea. Like I said, I'm gonna look and see what's out there for just working dads in general, because I love talking about this stuff. I feel like I have a unique perspective on it because I've got 2 grown children, and now I've kind of restarted fatherhood, which is wild. I will tell you, it's very I have a whole different perspective on fatherhood, having 2 grown children and now having a smaller child, and kind of doing it over again. It's just very, very different. I approach it very differently. I know how fast it goes. So I'm really cognizant of the time that I have with them is limited. The time that we have with our kids is very limited. I was reading something, it was a couple of months ago, when your child turns 18, they have spent, I think it was something like 80% of the time that they're going to spend physically with you, they have spent by the time they turn 18.
Someone that said 95%.
Is it 95%? Yeah, I don't remember the exact number, but it's wild. Like you're going to see less and less of them as they get older. That's the thing to realize. So
it's true. I put a comment on there, and I said, does this assume that they don't move back in with you after college?
Yeah, well, even if they do, because my 19-year-old lives here in the house with us, but I don't see him.
Yeah,
no.
See, I don't know these things. To your point, though, one of the things also I want to say, I invite so many people, and most of the people that are interested in, they're immediately in. It's free to join my community. There's no cost to join it, to participate with other people. Completely free. I want to create this space for guys to connect, and so I want everybody in there. But some guys are like, oh man, I wish this existed when I was dad. My kids are off at college, or my kids are grown, or my kids are in high school. One guy was like, I'm a lawyer granddad. The lawyer granddad, I was like, I think you're still a dad.
You're still a dad. Yeah, you're a dad for the rest of your life.
And these guys that are saying I wish it was that. Now, it takes a special kind of guy to do it, to join the community that says I'm beyond the age of most of my members with younger kids, but I'm like, I want you in the community. I'm 2 years away from having a teenager. I need to connect with people like you, Will.
Yeah,
the perspective. Survive the next 10 years. That's what so I'm trying, there's a technological thing too. I hosted on Mighty, so it's another app on your phone. It's a free app to download. It's learning in a new social space, but I've got some guys. We've got this one guy in our community that joined, I don't know, a month ago, and his kids are 27 and 25, and he's in there every day giving us advice. It's awesome to have him in there in the space. So
that's very, very cool. I love it, man. I love what you've created. I think it's amazing. I was also reading that you've got something called the sEdge. Can you talk to me a little? I know we're talking about dad-esque, but I wanted to ask a little bit about that, because that's something you're helping young lawyers get ahead in their career. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I have what I would say is probably an unusually I'm just like as type A as you get. I'm also what I call an extreme extrovert, and I like meeting and talking to people. So these things combine to the other, in addition to the interest in just building this community for dads. I'm like, I love mentoring younger attorneys, more junior attorneys, I should say. And that comes from I was first generation college in my family, not just law school, but first person in my family to go to college. And I had to learn a lot of stuff along the way. And I was blessed and fortunate to have some really good mentors along the way. But a lot of law firm associates, big firm partners are busy. They don't always have time to sit down and kind of show you the ropes or tell you, here's how to develop your career. Here's how to, develop these professional skills that you're going to need, or these business development skills you're going to need. And so that's really what that is. I do a weekly newsletter on LinkedIn called the sEdge. And It's really designed for law firm associates who want to make partner at their firm, who want to learn some of these skills, professional business development, really practical skills. I try to make everything I do super practical. It's not pie in the sky stuff. It's like on the ground. This is what worked for me. Here's some things you should think about doing and being more intentional in your career development. As a lawyer, like, it's easy to put your head down. You got so much work on your desk,
Right.
and just forget about, hey, what's the next year, 3 years, 5 years look like? Am I doing things to develop new clients? Am I getting myself out there in the community? Am I using a tool like LinkedIn effectively as an attorney? So that's what I do. And again, passion, like both, I will say to anyone that has ever thought about building a community, you have to be 1,000,000% passionate about it, because if I wasn't, Dad-esque would have survived about a month and a half. It is too much work to do something like this if you're not 100% bought in on what you're doing. And both of these things have given me have given me a passion and something to be excited about. My work does that too. I love the work I do and the clients I work with as an employment lawyer. I really do. But this has given me kind of a newfound like energy and passion of what I'm doing in building in both of these spaces. So Associates Edge has that. And then I started this thing, I'm calling it the Accelerator Program for Associates Edge, but there's a small monthly fee for that, but it's a monthly webinar I do kind of live. Here's how we do this. Here's how to build skills. Here's what partners are looking at is what makes a good associate. What are the skill sets, or what are the things that partners say that's an associate that's not just doing good work. They have partnership potential. What does that look like? So that's the kind of stuff I do in there. And I've got business development templates and guides and stuff. I actually host that within Mighty Networks, within the Dad-esque space. Because there's guys in my community that are law firm associates that, want to be good dads, but they also really want to do a good job at work.
Right.
That's one of the most common things, that, again, the challenge is like, hey, I'm a dad at a big law firm or at any company, and I'm thinking about taking parental leave when my baby's born. But there's this internal struggle where you're like, if I take more than a week or two, am I going to be viewed as less committed to my job? Am I going to be viewed as somebody that isn't going to do what it takes to get the work done? Right. So, there are guys in my community that that applies to too. So, it's a kind of an offshoot that Associates Edge is open to all law firm associates, not, and it's probably 50-50 male and female right now. And so that's been fun to do. Is a smaller group of people than Dad-esque, but it's been fun to build that. And I like passing along what I've learned, and, the things that I made a lot of mistakes. I learn a lot more from my mistakes than I do from my successes. So if I think
we all do
a mistake to somebody and say, hey, don't do this, but here's what you would learn if you did do it, I can avoid them that pain.
So I want to ask you, looking back over the last 10 months since you started, I guess almost 11 months at this point, right? Since you started Dad-esque, building a community, being a part of it. What's one thing that Dad-esque and building it and leading it has taught you about fatherhood, balance, and yourself?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's an everyday reminder that I need to do better. And I think we all need that reminder, no matter where you are. I think having that everyday reminder that I need to do better and I need to spend more time with my kids, I need to be more present. Each day is different. Some days I really fail at that, and some days I'm better at it. But it's good. I think there's an accountability that comes with being in groups and community with other people. And, just knowing that there's other guys out there that are doing it helps you say, I want to do this too. So that has definitely taught me that. And it's just, I think that every day I'm in there and I'm hearing from other guys, it's just encouraging to know there's other guys out there. So again, even, when I became a dad, I didn't know a lot of other guys that were like, yeah, I really want to be invested in being the best dad I can be. I do think there's kind of I think there's a shift, not to say that past generations were less interested in being present, intentional fathers, because I think in their own way they were, and my dad was a really good dad. But I think there is a shift where guys are saying, I don't want to just do the minimum, or I don't want to just be a good dad. I want to make that my number one priority, without sacrificing everything else that I'm trying to build.
Well, I will reiterate what I said earlier. Having gone through raising 2 children to adulthood, it goes so fast for everybody, mothers and fathers. And if you don't take the time while you have it, it'll be gone. And you'll regret that you didn't go on that trip, or like you didn't coach that team, or whatever the case is. That's my own little bit of advice for anybody out there who's a dad that's listening. Is take that get it while you got it. Because they're gonna grow up and they're gonna become adults, and they're gonna live their life, which is what you want. But but while you've got them, do the things that you hear about that you're supposed to do as a dad. That there's a reason dads have been doing that for years and years and years, because it's great. It's a lot of fun, man. I love all that stuff. So that's
reminded me of 2 things my wife has told me, and she's a pretty smart lady. The one is the days are long and the years are short, and that's 100% true. And they go faster as we get older. I feel like every year I'm like, man, I can't believe that year's over.
Yep.
And as my kids get older, it just goes quicker and quicker. But that and gosh, what was the other one? She gives me a lot of advice and wisdom. That was the one I was thinking of. I'm blanking on the other one.
That's okay.
I'll think of it at some point.
Yeah, it just it's really cool what you're doing, Matthew. I think it's amazing. I commend you for putting it together. And I know you're getting advice from people. You're not just giving advice, you're getting advice from people that are a part of this group, which is great. And that's a great leadership trait as well, being able to listen to other people and take what they have to say. So kudos to you, man. I love what you've put together. And I gave you guys a follow on your LinkedIn page and your Instagram page. So I want to be following along what you guys have going on and paying attention. And I'll do some digging on my end to see what I can find.
I'll help you out. I feel like I've connected with some guys. I try to connect, even if they're not lawyers. And we do one qualification is if you're in law school, we have some law school dads in there.
Okay. Yeah.
It'd be a JD or working towards a JD. So you kind of get the same relatable quality, but there's some other stuff out there we'll connect on, because I've along the path I've met a bunch of really cool guys doing work in this space.
Sure.
There are guys that are creating communities or creating programs or creating content that is super helpful.
Love it, man. So how do we got a lot of business owners and a lot of lawyers who check out the show, and I know a lot of them are fathers. Let everyone out there know how they can find Dad-esque.
Awesome. So if you are a lawyer dad and you want to join us, the website is dadesq.mn for mightynetworks.co. So that'll get you. That's the easiest way to just jump into the community. If you want to learn more about it before you jump in, or if you're not a lawyer dad but you're interested in this stuff, you can go to our website, which is dadesq.com, dadesq.com, and that has a lot of stuff. And then most of my content is on LinkedIn. I've done some fun Instagram videos, mostly of my kids. It's been a fun outlet for me.
I saw a Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that's been my most successful post. And somebody told me once that you get the audience you deserve. So most of my followers are car enthusiasts, not lawyer dads. And so I did a fun post about racing my wife home. So our kids could see what car was faster, and that had like 1 million views, which is
funny.
By far my most successful post. But yeah, I do most of it on LinkedIn, and there's a Dad-esque company page. And then the other thing I'd mention is that, like, we do have an upcoming event that's open to everybody that's interested in dad stuff. We have a virtual summit coming up in January.
Oh, cool.
And that's January 14th and 15th from 11 to 2 Eastern both days. We've got an awesome lineup of speakers. We've got a guy that does kind of like mindfulness well-being, former big law attorney who turned into a psychologist and just is great at helping you figure out how to reduce that stress, how to transition from work to home, things like that. We have a guy that's going to help us stop doom scrolling. We've got a guy that's going to do, budgeting made simple for busy professionals. tons. We have 8 different presentations. One of my favorite ones I'm excited about is we got a panel of 4 lawyer moms who are going to tell us how to be better lawyer dads.
Oh, that's awesome.
Their supporters. So that's coming up, and it's on the website, daddysq.com. So you can find more info about the summit there.
I love it, man. I love what you're doing. I love the idea and the fact that you've implemented, which is generally the hardest thing to do with an idea, is to actually put it into action. So that's amazing that you even just followed through. Follow through is really the key to anything, any endeavor you can have an idea, but if you aren't following through, that's all it is, just an idea. So you've made it a real thing, which is amazing. And you're helping people out, helping dads out. I love it, man. I absolutely love what you have going on. I could talk about dad stuff all day.
Jobs.
What's that?
Well, this is your job. I have another job too. So
I have another job. This isn't my only job this is part of my job, but I do lots of other stuff in our company. So
I'm with you though, man. I could hang out and to your point, like mid-December, I was like, I want to do this community. And I was like, I should plan it out and have a plan for it. And I'm like, no, I just posted on LinkedIn, I'm launching a community on January 1. And it gave me a deadline, and you just do it.
Deadlines, man. That's right. Yeah, it makes a huge difference if it makes it real, right? Like I've put this on the calendar. I have to do this now. I've let people know that it's happening. Yeah. And that applies to any project you might want to take on, any endeavor you want to do. So whatever it is, you want to run a marathon, you want to make a movie, you want to start a group for dads, put a date on it and make it real, and you're going to be a whole lot more likely to follow through on it. So, Matthew, really have enjoyed this conversation, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on and letting us know what you're doing. I personally love the idea, being a big advocate for fathers like I am. I love it. Those of you dads and beyond who are watching the podcast out there right now, we appreciate you guys tuning in to the live stream here. Make sure you give us a like and a follow and a star and a thumb and all those good things. They all help us to get the podcast out to more people and get messages out like Matthew's to more people as well. If you're watching the recorded version on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook after the fact, or you're listening on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get podcasts, we appreciate you guys as well. Very much so, because we want to get the word out. So, follow and subscribe and all that stuff. That sounds weird to say, but it's important to get it out there. We'll be back next week with more episodes of P for P with some more good guests. Hopefully they're as interesting and cool as Matthew has been here, and bring as much good stuff to the table. But until then, I hope you all have a great weekend, and we will see you next week right here on P for P.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.